Hello, my name is Nicholas Mueller, and I had the privilege of being able to dive deep into your guys' data set. I know your time is short, so I'll keep this to the point and we can get straight into it. I want to kind of list the objectives that we had in mind when going through this data set. The first was to identify the top three factors that lead to attrition. Then we would like to discover job-specific trends, followed by providing any interesting trends we find along the way. And then to wrap it off, we are going to build a model that can predict attrition and monthly income. So the data sets that we were working with consisted of three main data sets. The first one being the bulk of our data with 36 variables, 870 observations, and no missing values. Our second data set had 35 columns or variables, 300 observations, and then it was missing the attrition column, which again we will use a model in the future PowerPoint. And then our final data set, number 3, had 35 variables, 300 observations, and this one was missing the monthly income column. The top three factors that lead to attrition. Coming in at number 3 is early stages in someone's career. As you can see by this histogram, years in current role, less than 1 year have a close to 30% attrition rate. So those people just getting started in their career or in their current role. Another kind of statistic is the current manager. 32.4% of people have attrition within the first year of their current manager. And then our final statistic, kind of early stages in someone's career, is age. That group 18 to 28 have a 28% attrition rate. So again, they're still kind of figuring out where they want to go. Coming in at number 2 is work-life balance. People 31.8% of people with low work-life balance have an attrition or a turnover rate. Another statistic kind of show work-life balance is overtime. There's people who can't seem to get out of the office. They want to put in those hours. They seem to have a burnout rate also, which is about 32.3%. So 32.3% of people who do take overtime do seem to kind of leave after a while. And then on the complete other side is attrition by a job involvement. Those people with low job involvement, they don't like coming in, they're going to have about a 40% attrition rate. And then coming in at number 1 is job role. So that sales representative has a 41.7% attrition rate. And as you can see, research director, manufacturer, and manager all have very low attrition rates. So the sales representative department might need a little investigation. Kind of leading us into our next topic, our next objective is the job specific trends. As you can see, again, the research manager and manufacturer all have very, very, very low attrition rates. They're kind of your bread and butter. That's kind of the departments you want to talk to with keeping people. They have the lowest trending attrition rates. And then again, another job specific trend is people who seem to travel a lot, travel frequently, have about a 24% attrition rate, where people who don't travel as much have a 9.3 attrition rate. So the more you make someone travel, it does seem to trend upwards with attrition. Interesting trends we kind of found along the way is a salary hike. You definitely see from this histogram that kind of right skewness, that people who get, I guess, the salary hike isn't what they expected. They seem to end up leaving, where the higher you kind of boost that salary, the lower the attrition rate goes. And then again, stock option, that grasp in the company, that equity. They have people with a level 0 have about 25% attrition rate, where if you just give them a level 1 or even a level 2, it drops to about 10% to 5% attrition rate. So the more stock they have in the company, the more enticed they are to stay. And then finally, predicting attrition and monthly income. So we used for predicting attrition, we used the naive Bayes process. Now I know it seems like a lot, but don't worry. I put it in kind of a simple form, but it's a simple but powerful machine learning algorithm that can be used to classify things like attrition. It consists of 2 main data sets, the one being our complete data set with all variables, and then another data set with similar variables, except the one we would like to predict. In this case, it's going to be attrition. We will then eliminate unnecessary variables, perform several runs of the model, and then we can also downsample and upsample unbalanced data. It's just data that is unbalanced or heavily balanced in one direction. For example, attrition has 730 no's, but they only have 140 yeses. So we can upsample or downsample so that they're about 50-50 for better predictions. Then we will compare and then we will predict. So here's kind of just a little chart that shows sensitivity, specificity, and accuracy. The model with no change in sample size had a sensitivity about 0.91 and a specificity of 0.46. And then upsampling, we kind of drop that sensitivity to 0.6 from 0.9, but that specificity shoots up a lot more. And the way I was kind of described to is, would you rather predict someone who's going to stay or predict someone who's going to leave? And in my opinion, you kind of want both. So we're going to want sensitivity and specificity to kind of level each other out. So in this situation, upsampling seemed to be the best statistics. So we'll go ahead and proceed with that one. And then finally, into our linear regression to predict monthly income. We used a linear regression which detects linearity among several variables. Again, it consists of a complete data set with all variables and a data set with similar variables, except the one we would like to predict. So we'll use statistical evidence like p-values to determine what factors to keep. We'll run several models to achieve our desired output, and then again, compare and predict. On our last slide, we kind of showed the outputs we got from Model 1 and Model 2 with an MSPE and an RMSE. As you can see, both models performed very similarly. So Model 2 performed a little bit better, so we'll go ahead and use that one. And then as you can see, the variables included are at the bottom of the slide. If you guys have any information about what went into it more, I can stick around. You guys can shoot me an email, whatever you'd like. But for this situation, we're going to use Model 2. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. I had such an amazing time being able to learn about this stuff. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. My name is Nicholas Mueller. Thank you.